BLUF Gaming here with a defensive base design video for the game Kenshi. Obviously, you want to surround your base with walls, but skip the makeshift walls and go straight to defensive walls too. These walls let you post guards on them who can man mounted crossbows to fire your enemies. Only build one gate entering your base so you know where attacks will be, then make sure that you have two long, straight, opposing walls forming a funnel toward the gate so you can have multiple mounted crossbows able to fire at your enemies even while they're bashing away at your gate. For an extra level of defense, you can also have workers posted at the gate repairing the damage as they attempt to break it, or if you like, they can be firing weapons through the gate as well. These workers, however, should be expected to enter melee combat once the gate is breached. That's your bottom line up front. Stick around if you'd like to see all this explained in a lot more detail. Thanks for sticking around. It has been a while since I last made any Kenshi videos. I stopped because the game was getting very close to a full release and they were making frequent changes to the game, and I want to make sure my videos have a longer shelf life. Now that Kenshi is out of early access, I'm back in game and ready to make some videos on several basic topics I didn't cover in the past. As you saw in the intro, this video mainly covers wall and turret layout, but now I want to go through it from the ground up and discuss it in a bit more depth. I started this playthrough at the hub and decided to have my initial base centrally located on the world map. I traveled a bit east where the Borderlands and Shim zones meet. Unfortunately, this area is taxed by the United Cities, but I settled very close to a nearby way station, so I have a place to buy and sell goods or run for help in case things get really bad. There's a lot of traffic in the area, mainly from starving bandits and dust bandits. Also, both the Band of Bones and dust bandits do regular raids here, not to mention the sporadic attack from the Black Dragon ninjas. The only silver lining is that there doesn't seem to be any aggressive wildlife here. All that being said, I'm going to need some solid base defenses if I want to survive on my own and not run like a baby to get help from the nearby way station full of tech hunters. The first step to protecting your base will be surrounding it with walls. I recommend skipping the makeshift walls and research defensive walls, which gives you access to the much better defensive wall 2. Not only are defensive walls stronger than makeshift walls, but they can also be walked upon and have crossbows mounted to them. You can see how thin the makeshift walls are whenever I select them for placement, but we're going with the regular walls like I said because they are thicker and give you room to walk on top and mount crossbows. Let's start by building our walls around the base, being careful to ensure that the small blue arrows are pointing out from our base. And before I place the first wall, I'm going to briefly circle around the area I plan to wall in and watch to see if the wall turns red. That way I can make sure I haven't chosen a spot that can't have a wall built across it. Rather than lay out the entire wall all at once, I'm going to do it section at a time. Hopefully my first sections will block some of the common paths that roaming bandits take, and hopefully this will keep them out of aggro range whenever they walk by. Once you've clicked to place the first section of wall, it lets you drag to the left from where you started, so even though I'll be building my wall in a counterclockwise fashion, I have to draw each section clockwise. Once the first section is done, I can start on the right side and draw the wall counterclockwise. You don't actually need to encircle an area all that large to include all the buildings and workshops you need in Kenshi. However, I've settled near a place that has both iron and copper deposits, and I want to make sure both of them are inside the walls so I can safely gather materials without worrying about wildlife or roaming squads. Sometimes finding the perfect path that doesn't have any red sections of the wall can be difficult, and also the walls sometimes dip low enough in the terrain that enemies can walk over them, but we do have a couple of methods we can use to fix these issues if they are a problem. Hugh here is finishing up the last section of wall that I have planned out already. And once he's done here, all we'll have left to do is the entrance. As you can see, I've drawn pretty far out and now I'm curving back in towards the center. And you want to make a long, straight piece of wall here so that you can create a bit of a channel or a funnel for your enemies to come through when they're approaching the gate. Next, you want to build the best defensive gate that you can, and for me, that's the defensive gate 2. And then you'll build another section of wall to mirror the one across from it, a long straight wall forming a cone or a channel leading towards the front gate. If you live in a very hilly area like this, after you've finished your walls and gate, you'll want to go around the walls and check for any low points that enemies or wildlife can walk directly over. Just try to command one of your people to walk across the wall. If they try to take the long way around, you should be fine. If you find a low point that can be crossed, like the one I've found here, you have a couple of options. You can often plug the hole with a large building, but if the terrain prevents that, you can build a big clump of ugly walls like I have here, and that should also do the trick. You'll want to build several ramps leading up to your walls around the base. I like to have a couple close to the gate so my workers can quickly respond to a threat, but if you're going to have permanent wall guards, you may want to only have ramps farther away to delay any enemies from reaching your bowmen. Once you've researched mounted crossbows, it's time to arm your base against attack. This is where our entrance design starts to make more sense. If you have a circular wall around your base, you can place crossbows facing every direction, but it's hard, if not impossible, for the bows to aim at enemies actively attacking your gate. You can place mounted crossbows on these blue dots, but not on this scrunched up area over here. That's why we wanted to build straight long walls leading directly toward the gate. Once the walls start to curve, you start to lose out on opportunities to get these blue dots. As you can see on this side, my wall is much straighter and I have more blue dots on which I can place the mounted crossbows. I'm going to start with just 3 on each side since I don't have many people to begin with, but as time goes on I can add more on this end. I've built a Mark II training turret to help build my skill. The Mark II allows people to train their turret skill up to level 20, but you can get a more advanced training turret later in the game. It works like a workbench, so you can assign training to a worker as if it were any other job. This allows them to build their skill whenever they have extra time, although you may want to build multiple training turrets if you have many workers in need of training. I have a few more workers now and a bandit raid heading my way. 2 of my Shek and a Guru are stationed by the gate, while the rest will operate the mounted crossbows. These bandits have been demanding too much of us and it's time we took a stand. As usual, the bandits will stop outside of our gates and start to yell at us until we either come out and respond, or if we ignore them long enough, they'll attack. I'm going to select all of my crossbowmen and tell them to start shooting at the leader to shut him up, and of course that's going to trigger the rest of them to attack, but that's okay. I have 2 Shek at the gate, which once the gate breaks, will defend it hand to hand. However, while they're trying to break the gate down, they'll be told to repair the gate to slow them down a bit, giving our crossbowmen more chances to shoot them first. Even if the bandits break through the gate, this has already been a good success. We've been able to get far more shots on these bandits than we would have if we just had a normal round wall. So we're already at an advantage compared to that design because our enemies are going to be weaker. We got them down to 3 bandits by the time they were able to break the gate. But because the bandits hesitated and we had the 2 Shek repairing the gate, we were able to close it once more, delaying them a bit further, and by the time they get it up again, we've shot them down to just 1 bandit. Unfortunately for that bandit, however, my Guru Toenail was waiting for him and kicked him back into the arrow fire one last time before he gasped his last bandit breath. You need to be careful about firing these whenever you have friendly troops nearby, because you can have friendly fire. This is governed by the skill Precision Shooting, and over time this will be less of an issue. Also, adding lights near where you'll be shooting can help a lot. However, as you upgrade your mounted crossbows, you will eventually have some that have lights built into them. As your workers get more proficient with the mounted crossbows, and as you do more research and are able to upgrade these mounted crossbows to do more damage and be more accurate, you'll be able to defend your base against progressively stronger enemies. Of course, adding more crossbows helps even more, and eventually you should be able to get your defenses strong enough to withstand raids from the United Cities or Holy Nation, freeing you from having to pay taxes. I hope this has been helpful for you. It's been a long time since I posted a Kenshi video, and I plan to post more as I find new topics to cover. I've decided to dip my toe into the waters of streaming a bit, and you can find a link to my Twitch in the description, along with a link to a subreddit where I'm posting all my videos. Feel free to stop by in either place and say hello. This is the part where I'm supposed to tell you to smash all the buttons and buy all my merch, but I don't have any merch, so I guess the buttons will have to do for now. If you crunch that dislike button though, I'll hire the infamous hacker ZeroCool to infiltrate your hard drive and mod your game so that the Bugmaster is outside your gates every time you start. Thanks for watching Bottom Line Up Front, and I'll see you next time.